Why is it that you can be surrounded by people and still feel completely alone? You scroll through your phone, you see faces, conversations, laughter, but deep inside, there's a quiet emptiness that doesn't go away. You try to distract yourself, stay busy, fill your time, but the feeling returns, and you begin to wonder, what's wrong with me? Paramahansa Yogananda taught that loneliness is not caused by the absence of people. It is caused by the absence of connection within yourself. And until you understand this, no amount of external company will truly remove that feeling. Most people believe loneliness means being physically alone, but that's not the real truth. You can be in a crowd, in a relationship, even surrounded by friends, and still feel disconnected. Because loneliness is not about who is around you. It is about how deeply you are connected to your own inner being. Yogananda explained that human beings are not just physical or emotional, they are spiritual at their core. And when that deeper connection is ignored, a subtle emptiness begins to grow. You may try to fill it with relationships, achievements, entertainment, or constant stimulation, but nothing seems to fully satisfy. That's because you are trying to solve an inner disconnection with outer solutions. The real reason you feel lonely is not because you don't have enough people in your life. It is because you have lost touch with your own presence. Your mind is constantly moving, thinking about the past, worrying about the future, comparing, analyzing, and in that constant movement, you are rarely fully present with yourself. And when you are not present with yourself, you feel a gap. This gap is what you experience as loneliness. Another reason this feeling becomes stronger in modern life is because of how we interact. Social media gives the illusion of connection. You see updates, messages, reactions, but these are surface-level interactions. They don't replace real presence. They don't replace depth. Yogananda taught that true connection comes from awareness, not activity. You can talk all day and still not feel connected if your mind is elsewhere. But even a few moments of genuine presence can create a deep sense of connection. The problem is, most people are uncomfortable being alone with their own thoughts. The moment there is silence, the mind becomes restless. It starts bringing up insecurities, fears, unresolved emotions, and instead of facing that, we escape. We reach for distractions. But every time you escape yourself, the feeling of loneliness grows stronger. Because at its core, loneliness is not asking for more people. It is asking for more awareness. Yogananda emphasized that the soul naturally feels complete. It does not feel lonely. Loneliness arises when you identify only with the mind and body, and forget your deeper nature. This is why external things don't fully solve it. You may feel better temporarily, when you are with someone, when you are entertained, when you are busy, but as soon as the distraction fades, the feeling returns. Because the root cause is still there. Another important aspect is expectation. Many people enter relationships hoping that the other person will remove their loneliness. They expect constant attention, understanding, and emotional fulfillment, but no one can fully carry that responsibility. And when those expectations are not met, the feeling of loneliness becomes even stronger. Yogananda taught that when you depend on others for your inner state, you give away your peace. True connection with others becomes possible only when you are first connected with yourself. Otherwise, you are not connecting. You are seeking to fill a gap. There is also a deeper fear hidden within loneliness, the fear of facing yourself. When you sit alone, without distractions, you come face to face with your thoughts, your patterns, your emotions, and this can feel uncomfortable, so the mind avoids it. But this avoidance creates a cycle. The more you avoid yourself, the more disconnected you feel. And the more disconnected you feel, the more you seek external distractions. Breaking this cycle requires a shift. Yogananda taught that instead of running away from loneliness, you must move toward it with awareness, not to suffer in it, but to understand it. When you sit quietly and observe the feeling without judgment, something begins to change. You realize that loneliness is not a permanent state, it is a passing experience. It is a signal, not a definition. It is pointing you inward. Another powerful realization is that you are never truly alone. There is always an awareness within you that is constant, silent, and present. Even when your thoughts change, even when your emotions shift, that awareness remains. This is your deeper self. But because your attention is always outward, you don't notice it. Meditation becomes a powerful tool here, not as a technique to escape loneliness, but as a way to reconnect with yourself. When you sit in stillness and observe your breath, your thoughts, your presence, you begin to feel less scattered, more grounded. And in that grounding, the feeling of loneliness begins to soften. Yogananda often spoke about the presence of the divine within. He taught that when you turn inward and connect with that presence, you no longer feel empty. You feel supported, connected, whole. This does not mean you stop needing people. Human connection is important, but it changes the way you relate. You no longer seek others to complete you. You connect with them from a place of fullness, and that creates deeper, more meaningful relationships. Another subtle shift happens when you become more present in your interactions. Instead of thinking about what to say next, or how you are being perceived, you simply listen. You engage fully. You allow yourself to be there. This kind of presence creates real connection. And real connection reduces loneliness, not because someone else is filling a gap, but because you are no longer disconnected from yourself. Yogananda also emphasized the importance of purpose. When you feel aligned with something meaningful, something that resonates with your inner values, you feel less empty. Your energy flows in a direction, and that sense of direction reduces the feeling of isolation. Because now, your life has meaning beyond just seeking connection. But all of this begins with one simple step: being willing to sit with yourself, not as an enemy, but as a companion. At first, it may feel uncomfortable. Your mind may resist. But if you stay with it, gently, without forcing anything, you begin to discover something unexpected. A quiet sense of presence. A subtle feeling of being okay, even without constant stimulation. And from that place, something deeper begins to open. A connection that does not depend on who is around you, what is happening outside, or how your life looks on the surface. And as that connection begins to deepen, you start to realize something that quietly changes everything. You were never truly alone in the first place. Paramahansa Yogananda taught that the feeling of loneliness dissolves when you shift from seeking connection outside to experiencing connection within. This doesn't happen suddenly, and it doesn't happen by force. It unfolds gently, as you begin to give yourself the presence you were searching for in others. At first, your mind may still resist. It may say, "This isn't enough. I still feel empty." And that's okay. Because for a long time, you trained your mind to depend on external validation, external noise, external attention. Now you are teaching it something new. You are teaching it to rest within. One of the most powerful ways to dissolve loneliness is to become aware of your inner dialogue. Notice how you speak to yourself when you are alone. Is there judgment? Is there criticism? Is there a sense of lack? Because if your inner space feels uncomfortable, you will naturally try to escape it. Yogananda emphasized that the relationship you have with yourself shapes every other relationship in your life. If you cannot sit with yourself peacefully, no external connection will feel enough. So instead of trying to escape loneliness, begin to transform your inner environment. Speak to yourself with kindness. Observe your thoughts without harsh judgment. Allow yourself to be as you are, without constantly trying to fix or change everything. This creates a sense of inner safety. And when you feel safe within yourself, the need to constantly seek outside validation begins to reduce. Another important shift is learning to enjoy your own presence. This may sound simple, but for many people, it is deeply unfamiliar. You are used to associating happiness with activity, doing something, being somewhere, interacting with someone. But there is a different kind of peace that comes from simply being. Yogananda taught that this state of being is where the soul feels at home. It is not dependent on conditions. It is not created by circumstances. It is already there, beneath the surface of your thoughts. When you begin to taste this state, even for a few moments, loneliness starts to lose its intensity. You realize that your existence itself carries a quiet fullness. Another powerful way to shift loneliness is through conscious connection, not just with people, but with life itself. When you walk outside, notice your surroundings, feel the air, observe the sky, listen to the sounds around you. These moments of awareness may seem small, but they bring you into the present, and the present moment is where connection exists. Loneliness often grows when your mind is stuck in comparison or expectation. You see others living a certain life, having certain relationships, and you feel like something is missing in yours. But this comparison pulls you away from your own reality. Yogananda reminded that every soul has its own path. Your journey is not meant to look like someone else's, and when you constantly compare, you disconnect from your own experience. Returning to your own path, your own pace, your own growth, brings a sense of grounding. And that grounding reduces the feeling of isolation. Service is another powerful way to transform loneliness. When you help someone, even in a small way, your attention shifts from your own lack to someone else's need. And in that shift, your heart opens. Yogananda often spoke about seva, or selfless service, as a way to expand consciousness. When you give without expecting anything in return, you feel connected, not because someone is giving you attention, but because you are participating in something greater than yourself. This sense of contribution brings meaning, and meaning dissolves emptiness. There is also a moment in this journey where you begin to understand that loneliness was not your enemy. It was a message, a signal guiding you back to yourself. It showed you where you were disconnected. It revealed where you were seeking outside what could only be found within. And once you begin to understand this, your perspective changes. You no longer see loneliness as something to fear. You see it as something to listen to. And in listening, you begin to heal. As your inner connection grows, your outer relationships also begin to change. You no longer approach people from a place of need. You approach them from a place of presence. You listen more deeply. You connect more genuinely. You are not trying to be validated. You are simply being. And this authenticity creates stronger, more meaningful connections. Because now, you are not trying to fill a gap. You are sharing your presence. Yogananda described this as living from the soul rather than the ego. The ego seeks approval, attention, and validation. The soul simply expresses. And when you live from that space, you feel connected, not just to people, but to life itself. Over time, you begin to notice something subtle but profound. The moments that once felt empty now feel peaceful. The silence that once felt uncomfortable now feels calming. You start to enjoy your own company. And this is the turning point. Because once you are no longer afraid of being alone, loneliness loses its power over you. You may still experience it at times, that is natural, but it no longer defines you. It no longer controls your choices. You know how to return to yourself, and that knowing brings freedom. So if you are feeling lonely right now, don't rush to escape it. Don't try to cover it up with distractions. Instead, take a moment to pause, sit with yourself, breathe, and gently turn your attention inward. Because what you are searching for is not missing, it is simply waiting for you to notice it. And the moment you begin to reconnect with that quiet presence within you, you will realize that the connection you were seeking outside has been with you all along. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on your own inner connection. And if you want more deep, practical spiritual insights like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel and continue this journey toward awareness, peace, and true connection.